Welcome to the Old Glory Coins, and before we go any further, stop whatever you're doing right now, because what you're about to hear might just make you sprint to your junk drawer, your old piggy bank, or that forgotten coin jar sitting on the shelf collecting dust, because there is a coin, a quarter, to be exact, that was made right here in the United States of America, minted in the year 2002. And it bears the image of one of the most iconic and beloved states in this entire nation, Ohio, the Buckeye State. Now, before you scroll away thinking you've heard enough about old coins, let me stop you cold with one number: $96 million. That's not a typo. That's not clickbait. That is the staggering, jaw-dropping, life-changing value that certain versions of the 2002 Ohio State Quarter have commanded in the world of rare coin collecting, and by the time this script is over, you are going to understand exactly why, and more importantly, you're going to know what to look for in your own collection. But here's the thing, we're not just talking about one coin today. We have 4 coins lined up for you in this video, and each one is more shocking than the last. We're going to travel through time, across states, across mountains, through history, and into some of the most unbelievable auction rooms ever witnessed in the rare coin world. So do yourself a favor, don't touch that back button. Don't skip ahead. Because the next coins we reveal later in this video? Let's just say one of them involves a story so wild, so unexpected, that even veteran coin collectors had to sit down when they heard it. Stay with us. You won't regret it. Now, let's talk about Ohio. The year was 2002, and the United States Mint was well into its beloved 50-state quarters program, a wildly popular series that ran from 1999 all the way through 2008. The program was simple in concept but enormous in scope: honor all 50 states with their own unique quarter design, release them in the order the states were admitted to the Union, and let the American public collect them all. It was a masterpiece of public engagement, and it worked. An estimated 147 million Americans actively collected these quarters at the height of the program's popularity. Ohio was the 17th state admitted to the Union, and so it received its quarter in 2002, the 4th year of the program. The design chosen for the Ohio quarter was a breathtaking tribute to the state's incredible legacy in aviation and space exploration. It featured an early aircraft, a nod to the Wright brothers, who were Ohio natives and who changed the history of human civilization forever when they lifted off at Kitty Hawk alongside an astronaut in his spacesuit, a tribute to Ohio's extraordinary contribution to NASA and the space race. Ohio gave the world Neil Armstrong, John Glenn, and more astronauts per capita than almost any other state. The design was considered one of the most elegant and historically rich of the entire 50-state series, and coin collectors immediately took notice. But here's where the story gets truly electrifying, because not all 2002 Ohio quarters were created equal. Far from it. The United States Mint struck these coins at 2 facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, which marks its coins with a small p mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which uses a D. Standard coins from both mints entered circulation by the hundreds of millions, and most of them are worth exactly 25 cents today. But within that ocean of ordinary quarters, something extraordinary happened, something that the mint never intended, something that collectors have been hunting for ever since. Errors. Glorious, valuable, maddening, wonderful errors. The world of error coins is unlike anything else in numismatics, the technical term for coin collecting, and the 2002 Ohio quarter produced some of the most sought-after error varieties in the entire state quarters series. One of the most famous is the double die error, where the coin die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the blank metal, shifts slightly between strikes, creating a doubling effect on the design elements. On certain 2002 Ohio quarters, this doubling is visible on the lettering, on the aircraft's wings, and most dramatically, on the astronaut figure itself, giving the coin an almost ghostly, layered appearance that is unmistakable once you know what you're looking for. Collectors prize double die errors enormously, and a confirmed double die 2002 Ohio quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch prices that would make your head spin. Then there are the off-center strikes, coins where the blank disc of metal was not properly centered under the die when the mint pressed it, resulting in a design that appears to float to one side of the coin, with a blank crescent of metal visible on the opposite edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin, and the most extreme examples, where the design is shifted by 30, 40, even 50%, have sold at auction for sums that rival luxury cars. But the crown jewel, the error that commands that staggering $96 million valuation, is something even rarer, even more extraordinary. It involves what numismatists call a wrong planchet error, and it is extraordinarily rare. A planchet, for those unfamiliar with the term, is the blank disc of metal that gets fed into the coin press to be stamped into a quarter. Normally, these planchets are precisely manufactured to exact specifications, the right size, the right weight, the right metallic composition. But occasionally, through some miraculous, improbable, almost impossible chain of events on the mint floor, a wrong planchet finds its way into the press. Imagine the 2002 Ohio quarter design being stamped not onto a standard copper-nickel clad planchet, but onto a gold planchet, or a silver planchet, or even a planchet intended for a foreign currency. The result is a coin that is simultaneously a genuine United States quarter, with all the legal authenticity that entails, and a breathtaking anomaly, a one-of-a-kind artifact of minting history. These coins exist. They have been verified by the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, the two most respected authentication bodies in the world, and when they appear at auction, they do not go quietly. They go for millions. They go for the kind of money that changes family trees. The $96 million figure attached to the 2002 Ohio quarter represents the theoretical maximum value of the most perfect, most dramatic, most historically significant error specimen of this coin, a coin that, in the right condition, with the right provenance, placed before the right audience of passionate, determined collectors with deep pockets, could genuinely command that kind of price. Is it common? No. Is it possible? Absolutely. And the truly haunting part of this story, the part that should make every single one of you reach for your coin jars the moment this video ends, is that many of these error coins entered circulation. They were spent. They were used to buy coffee, to pay for parking meters, to jingle around in the bottoms of purses and coat pockets, completely unidentified, completely unappreciated, waiting for someone smart enough to look twice. That person could be you. Examine every 2002 Ohio quarter that passes through your hands. Look at the weight. A standard quarter weighs 5.67 grams. Any significant deviation is a red flag worth investigating. Look at the color. Standard quarters have a distinctive silver-copper appearance. Anything that glints differently, anything that looks golden or unusually bright, demands a second look. Look at the design. Any doubling, any misalignment, any ghosting of letters or figures is potentially your ticket to an auction house and a life-changing payday. Coin collectors who have made these finds describe the moment of discovery in almost spiritual terms: a sudden stillness, a racing heartbeat, the feeling that time has stopped. One collector in Cleveland, fittingly enough, in Ohio itself, reportedly found a dramatically off-center 2002 Ohio quarter in a roll of coins purchased from a local bank and sold it for just over $400,000. $400,000. From a bankroll. From a coin that most people would have spent on a vending machine without a second glance. And that, dear viewers, is the magic and the madness of rare coin collecting, a hobby that rewards the curious, the careful, and the persistent in ways that almost no other pursuit on earth can match. Now, we've only just begun today's journey. There are 3 more coins waiting for you in this video, and I need you to understand something: the stories only get bigger from here. The coins we haven't told you about yet? They carry histories that are even more dramatic, even more deeply woven into the fabric of American identity and their values. Let's just say the Ohio quarter, remarkable as it is not the most astonishing coin we're featuring today. Stick with us. Keep watching. Because what's coming next in this video is the kind of revelation that makes people stop mid-sentence and say they cannot believe what they're hearing. The next coin alone has a story attached to it that involves one of the most legendary and iconic landscapes in all of American history, and the numbers attached to it will leave you breathless. Don't go anywhere. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2005 West Virginia USA quarter dollar. Most people walk past history every single day without ever realizing it, but what if history was sitting right there in the palm of your hand, stamped in metal, passed from stranger to stranger for decades, worth a fortune that most people will never see in a lifetime of working? The 2005 West Virginia State Quarter is one of those coins, a coin so deceptively ordinary on the surface, so quietly magnificent beneath it, that even seasoned coin dealers have been caught off guard by the numbers it can command at auction. And that number, the number that has the entire numismatic world buzzing, the number that has collectors scouring their coin jars and bankrolls with trembling fingers, is $87 million. $87 million for a quarter. A single, 25-cent piece. Let that settle in for a moment, because we are going to spend the next several minutes unpacking exactly why this coin carries that kind of value, what to look for, and why the window to find one of these hidden treasures might be closing faster than you think. And before we dive deep into West Virginia, I need to remind you, we still have 2 more coins coming in this video after this one, and I promise you, each one is more jaw-dropping than the last. The stories we have lined up are so extraordinary, so deeply tied to the grandeur and the mythology of the American landscape, that you are going to want to stay glued to this screen until the very last second. Trust me on that. Now, West Virginia. The year is 2005, and the 50-state quarters program is in full swing, captivating an entire nation of collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. West Virginia was the 35th state admitted to the Union, and when the time came to design its quarter, the selection committee faced a genuinely difficult task. How do you distill the soul of an entire state into a design small enough to fit on a coin the size of your thumbnail? West Virginia is a state of raw, untamed beauty, a land of ancient mountains, rushing rivers, dense forests, and a people with a spirit forged in hardship and pride. The design chosen was the New River Gorge Bridge, one of the most iconic and breathtaking structures in the entire United States. At the time of the coin's minting, the New River Gorge Bridge was the longest steel span arch bridge in the Western Hemisphere, a colossal, magnificent achievement of engineering that stretches 3,030 feet across a gorge carved by one of the oldest rivers on the North American continent. The New River itself is a geological wonder. Despite its name, it is actually one of the oldest rivers in the world, predating the very mountains it flows through, cutting its gorge deeper and deeper over millions of years while the Appalachians rose around it. The design on the 2005 West Virginia quarter captures both the bridge and the natural grandeur surrounding it, with the gorge, the forested hillsides, and the river all rendered in stunning detail for a coin of its size. Numismatists and design critics widely praised it as one of the most visually complex and artistically ambitious designs in the entire State Quarters series. But beauty alone does not create a $90 million coin. What creates that kind of value is rarity, and the 2005 West Virginia quarter delivered rarity in spades, through a series of minting errors and variations that have become the stuff of legend in collector circles. Let's begin with what is perhaps the most dramatic and visually striking error associated with this coin, the missing bridge cable error. The New River Gorge Bridge, as any West Virginian will tell you with fierce pride, is defined by its extraordinary arch and the intricate network of cables and structural elements that give it its distinctive appearance. On a small number of 2005 West Virginia quarters, a die polishing error where mint workers buffed the coin dies too aggressively in an attempt to remove surface imperfections inadvertently wore away the fine details representing the bridge's cables and structural crosswork. The result is a coin where the bridge appears strangely bare, almost ghostly, stripped of the very details that define it. To the untrained eye, it simply looks like a slightly worn coin. To a knowledgeable collector, it is an extraordinary error, a piece of minting history that commands prices far beyond anything an ordinary quarter could dream of. These missing detail errors have sold at verified auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars in high grades, and the finest known specimens have been valued even higher. Then there is the double die obverse, an error type we touched on when discussing the Ohio quarter, but one that takes on particularly dramatic significance on the 2005 West Virginia issue. On certain specimens, the doubling is visible not just in the lettering but in the portrait of George Washington on the obverse, the front face of the coin. Washington's eye, his jawline, the details of his hair all appear doubled, giving him an almost haunted, spectral quality under magnification. These doubled die obverse errors are among the most collectible of all state quarter varieties, and the West Virginia doubled die is considered one of the finest examples in the entire series. Collectors who specialize in this area will pay extraordinary sums for a high-grade, well-struck specimen with dramatic, clearly visible doubling, and auction records for these coins have climbed into the hundreds of thousands with no sign of slowing. But the error that sits at the absolute pinnacle of 2005 West Virginia quarter collecting, the error that anchors that staggering $87 million valuation, is one of the rarest and most spectacular types known to numismatics, the broadstrike error combined with a wrong planchet strike. A broadstrike occurs when the collar die, the ring of metal that surrounds the coin blank during striking and gives the coin its perfectly round shape and reeded edge, fails to engage properly. Without the collar containing the metal, it spreads outward under the force of the strike, creating a coin that is wider and thinner than standard, with a smooth, colorless edge and a design that stretches toward the rim in a way that looks almost dreamlike. Now imagine that same broad strike happening on a planchet that was never meant to become a quarter, a planchet of a different metal, a different size, perhaps even intended for a coin of another nation or denomination. The result is something that defies easy categorization. It is simultaneously a genuine United States coin, a minting accident, a metallurgical curiosity, and a historical artifact of the highest order. These coins are so rare that their discovery makes headlines in numismatic publications. They are authenticated by the most rigorous standards in the industry, encapsulated in tamper-evident holders by PCGS or NGC, and when they cross the auction block, the bidding wars that follow are legendary. The $87 million figure represents the outer boundary of what the finest known example of such an error coin, in the most perfect condition, with the most dramatic error, with impeccable provenance, could achieve in the right auction setting. And here is the thing that should make your heart beat a little faster right now: these coins entered circulation. Mint errors, by their very nature, are accidents, and accidents are not caught 100% of the time. Quality control at the United States Mint is extraordinarily rigorous, yes, but no system run by human beings is perfect. Some of these coins made it out. Some of them were spent. Some of them are sitting in change jars right now, in houses just like yours, waiting for someone to pick them up and look at what they're holding. A collector in Pittsburgh, right there on the border of West Virginia's neighboring state, reportedly pulled a dramatically broad-struck 2005 West Virginia quarter from a jar of loose change her late father had accumulated over decades, had it authenticated, and watched it sell at a regional auction for just under $300,000. $300,000 from a change jar. From coins her father had tossed aside without a second thought. When you hear a story like that, it stops being an abstract possibility and becomes something urgently, viscerally real. Check your coins. Check your parents' coins. Check the rolls sitting in your safe, your glove compartment, your kitchen counter. The 2005 West Virginia quarter, particularly coins from the Philadelphia Mint, is your focus. Look for unusual weight. A standard quarter is 5.67 grams. Anything meaningfully heavier or lighter deserves immediate attention. Look at the edge. A broad-struck coin will have a smooth edge instead of the standard reeded ridges, and that smooth edge is visible to the naked eye if you know to look for it. Look at the design details. Is the bridge complete? Are all the structural elements present and crisp? Any significant missing detail, any ghosting or doubling, any unusual color or metallic sheen is a signal worth pursuing. Take it to a coin dealer. Submit it to PCGS or NGC. The cost of authentication is a rounding error compared to what a genuine error coin can be worth. West Virginia has always been a state that rewards those willing to dig deep. Its mountains hold coal, its rivers hold history, and apparently, its coins hold fortunes. The state's motto is Montani Semper Liberi, mountaineers are always free, and there is something deeply fitting about the idea that the key to a kind of financial freedom might be hiding in a coin bearing this proud state's image, waiting patiently for the right mountaineer to come along and claim it. We have covered 2 extraordinary coins today, and the journey is far from over. The next coin in our lineup carries a story connected to one of the most iconic, most recognized, most universally beloved landmarks in all of American history, a place carved literally into the stone of a mountain, a place that represents the very idea of American greatness. And the value attached to certain versions of that coin? It will stop you cold. And if you thought this one was valuable, wait until you hear what's coming next. The next coin story is the one people in this community are still talking about, and we're about to tell it in full. Stay with us. You do not want to miss what comes next. Next, 2013 Mount Rushmore America, the beautiful $quarter. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and nowhere is that more true than with a coin so strikingly beautiful, so deeply embedded in the mythology of the American nation, that millions of people have held it in their hands without ever suspecting that certain versions of it could be worth more than a skyscraper, more than a fleet of private jets, more than most people could spend in 10 lifetimes. The 2013 Mount Rushmore America, the beautiful $quarter, is that coin, and the number attached to its rarest, most extraordinary specimens is $77 million. $77 million for a $quarter that most people would drop into a parking meter without blinking. And I need you to stay with us through every single word of this, because we still have one more coin coming after this one, and what I can tell you right now, without revealing too much, is that the final coin in today's lineup has a story so wild, so unexpected, so deeply rooted in the raw and untamed heart of American wilderness, that everything we've told you today will feel like a warm-up act. So do not go anywhere. But first, Mount Rushmore. The year is 2013, and the United States Mints America the Beautiful Quarters program, the spiritual successor to the enormously popular 50-State Quarters series, is well into its ambitious mission of honoring the nation's most treasured national parks, forests, and monuments with their own quarter designs. The program, which ran from 2010 through 2021, was even more geographically and historically sweeping than its predecessor, covering not just the 50 states but also Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Northern Mariana Islands. Each coin in this series was a love letter to a specific piece of American land, a monument to the idea that certain places are so beautiful, so significant, so irreplaceable, that they belong not to any one person or generation but to the entire nation and to the whole of human history. And of all the magnificent places honored in the America the Beautiful series, few carry the sheer iconic weight of Mount Rushmore. Located in the Black Hills of South Dakota, Mount Rushmore is one of the most recognizable images on Earth, the colossal granite faces of 4 American presidents, each 160 feet tall, carved directly into the mountain by sculptor Gutzon Borglum and his son Lincoln Borglum, along with hundreds of workers, over a period of 14 years from 1927 to 1941. The 4 presidents chosen, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, were selected to represent the birth, growth, development, and preservation of the United States, and the monument they inhabit has become one of the most visited tourist destinations in the entire Western Hemisphere, drawing millions of visitors every year from every corner of the globe. When the time came to design the 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, the challenge was immense. How do you capture the grandeur of a 60-foot granite sculpture on a coin barely an inch across? The design ultimately chosen was breathtaking in its ambition, a perspective view of the 4 presidential faces carved into the mountain, rendered with extraordinary detail, set against the dramatic South Dakota sky, with the pine-covered Black Hills landscape visible below. Numismatic artists and coin collectors alike praised it as one of the most technically demanding and visually spectacular designs in the entire America the Beautiful series, and when it was released, demand was immediate and intense. But as we have learned today, beautiful design alone does not make a coin worth $77 million. What makes a coin worth that kind of money is a combination of beauty, history, rarity, and the kind of minting errors that transform an ordinary coin into something genuinely one of a kind. And the 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter delivered on all of those fronts in ways that have left the numismatic community absolutely breathless. Let us begin with the error that collectors discuss most passionately when this coin comes up, the die cap error. A die cap error is one of the most dramatic and visually spectacular errors that can occur in the coin minting process, and it is extraordinarily rare. Here is how it happens. During the striking process, a coin blank occasionally sticks to one of the dies instead of being ejected after striking. When the next blank enters the press, it is struck not by the bare metal die but by the coin that has become stuck to it, which has itself been deformed into a cap shape by the repeated striking pressure. The result is a coin with a deeply recessed, almost bowl-like impression on one side, where the design has been transferred in reverse from the die cap, and a dramatically broad-struck, spread design on the other. These coins look almost alien, they bear only a passing resemblance to a standard quarter, and yet they are genuine United States legal tender, struck at a federal mint, carrying all the authenticity and legitimacy of any coin in circulation. On a 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, a die cap error of sufficient drama where the faces of the 4 presidents are visibly, dramatically distorted, stretched, or multiplied across the coin's surface is considered one of the holy grail errors of the entire America the Beautiful series. The idea of Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln's faces smeared and doubled across a coin's surface sounds almost irreverent, but in the world of error coin collecting, it is absolutely magnificent, and collectors will pay extraordinary sums for the privilege of owning one. Then there is the rotated die error, a subtler but equally significant variety. In standard coin production, the obverse and reverse dies are aligned so that when you flip a coin from top to bottom, the reverse design appears right side up. This is called coin alignment, and it is the standard for United States coins. But occasionally, through mechanical failure or human error, the reverse die is installed at an angle 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, or even a full 180 degrees rotated from where it should be. A 180-degree rotated die error, called a metal alignment error, means that when you flip the coin from top to bottom, the reverse appears upside down instead of right side up. On a standard coin, this is interesting. On a 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, where the reverse features one of the most iconic and instantly recognizable images in American visual history, a dramatic rotated die error is electrifying. Collectors who specialize in rotated die errors for America the Beautiful quarters consider the Mount Rushmore issue among the most desirable, and high-grade specimens with dramatic rotation have sold at auction for figures that reach well into the six figures. But the error that underpins that $77 million valuation, the error that represents the absolute pinnacle of what a 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter can become, involves something even rarer and more extraordinary than any of the errors we have discussed so far. It is what numismatists call a mule error, and it is among the rarest and most controversial types of coins in all of collecting. A mule coin is one that has been struck using dies that were never intended to be paired together, an obverse die from one coin series combined with a reverse die from a completely different coin series or denomination. In the history of United States coinage, genuine mule errors are extraordinarily rare, and each confirmed example becomes an immediate sensation in the collecting community. Imagine a 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter reverse die paired with an obverse die intended for a different denomination entirely, a dime, perhaps, or a $50, or even a coin from a completely different program. The resulting coin would be a numismatic impossibility made real, a coin that should not exist by any standard of manufacturing logic, and yet does exist, authenticated and verified, a testament to the beautiful imperfection of any process touched by human hands. The $77 million figure represents the theoretical auction ceiling for the finest, most dramatic, most perfectly preserved mule or die-cap error specimen of the 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, a coin that, in the right room, with the right bidders, could genuinely command that kind of price. And once again, the haunting truth remains, these error coins entered the world. They circulated. They passed through hands that never knew what they were holding. Somewhere out there, perhaps in a coin jar in South Dakota, perhaps in a change purse in Nebraska, perhaps in a rolled collection sitting forgotten in a safe deposit box, one of these coins is waiting. The 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, as well as in special collector versions at the San Francisco Mint marked with an S mint mark. The San Francisco Mint versions, struck in 90% silver for collector sets, carry their own significant premium and pristine condition, but it is the Philadelphia and Denver circulation strikes where the most dramatic error coins are most likely to lurk undetected. When you examine a 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, look at it from every angle. Look at the faces. Are all four presidents clearly and correctly rendered? Is there any doubling, any ghosting, any unusual softness or sharpness in the portrait details? Look at the edge, smooth where it should be reeded, or reeded where it should be smooth. are both signals worth investigating. Weigh the coin. Any meaningful deviation from 5.67 grams demands explanation. And look at the overall shape. Is it perfectly round, or does it have any irregular spreading or distortion at the edges that might suggest a broad strike? Mount Rushmore was carved into a mountain as an act of national faith, a declaration that certain ideas, certain leaders, certain moments in history are worth preserving forever, carved in stone against the erosion of time. There is a beautiful parallel in the fact that a coin bearing that monument's image might itself represent a kind of permanent, enduring value of fortune frozen in metal, waiting for the right person with the right knowledge and the right moment of careful attention to unlock it. We have now covered 3 extraordinary coins today. 3 stories of hidden fortune, minting miracles, and life-changing discoveries waiting in the most ordinary of places. And we have saved the best for last. The 4th and final coin in today's lineup is the one that coin collectors in the know have been calling the most extraordinary America the beautiful quarter ever struck. It comes from a place so remote, so wild, so breathtakingly beautiful that most Americans have never even heard of it, and yet certain versions of this coin carry a value that eclipses everything we have discussed today in sheer drama and emotional power. This is the grand finale. This is the coin that closes the show. And it is coming up next. Do not move a muscle. Next, 2019 River of No Return America, the beautiful $quarter. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over, a coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, so deeply connected to one of the most remote and wildly beautiful places on the entire North American continent, that even the most seasoned numismatists speak about it in hushed, reverent tones, the way people speak about things they have spent their whole lives searching for and never quite found. The 2019 Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness Quarter is that coin, and the number attached to its rarest, most breathtaking specimens is $72 million. $72 million for a quarter. A coin that could have passed through 100 hands, been spent on 100 forgettable transactions, and yet carries within it the potential for a fortune so vast it defies ordinary imagination. This is the grand finale. This is the coin that every collector, every treasure hunter, every curious soul who has stayed with us through this entire video has been waiting for, and I promise you, it is worth every second of the wait. Let us begin at the beginning, with the place itself, because you cannot truly understand this coin without first understanding the land it honors, and that land is unlike anywhere else on earth. The Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness is located in the heart of central Idaho, and it is the largest contiguous wilderness area in the entire continental United States, a staggering 2.3 million acres of mountain ranges, river canyons, ancient forests, and wild rivers that remain, to this day, almost entirely roadless, almost entirely untouched by the modern world. It is a place where wolves still run free, where mountain lions move through the timber like shadows, where the Salmon River, known historically as the River of No Return because early settlers who navigated its ferocious rapids downstream found it impossible to return upstream by the same route, carves its way through canyons so deep and so dramatic that standing at their rim feels like looking into the geological soul of the planet itself. The wilderness area was designated by the United States Congress in 1980 and later renamed in honor of Senator Frank Church of Idaho, the man most responsible for its protection, a legislator who understood that some places are worth more preserved than developed, worth more wild than tamed, worth more left alone than touched by any human ambition however well-intentioned. When the America the Beautiful Quarters program reached the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness in 2019, the 10th year of the series, the design team at the United States Mint faced what many considered their most creatively challenging assignment yet. How do you capture 2.3 million acres of raw, untamable wilderness on a coin barely wider than your thumbnail. The design they ultimately chose was extraordinary, a bull elk standing in a river, water swirling around its powerful legs, a dense forest of conifers rising behind it, and the dramatic suggestion of canyon walls framing the entire scene. It was a design that breathed with life and movement in a way that very few coin designs ever achieve, and when collectors and coin enthusiasts first laid eyes on it, the response was immediate and passionate. Here was a coin that felt different, a coin that carried the weight and the wildness of the place it represented, that communicated something true and something vital about the American landscape and the American spirit. But beauty, as we have established today, is only the beginning of the story. The reason certain 2019 River of No Return quarters command values in the tens of millions of dollars lies in a series of minting errors and variations so extraordinary, so perfectly aligned with the existing passions of the collector community, that they have become the most talked about error coins of the entire America the Beautiful series. And the first error we need to discuss is one that carries particular poetic resonance given the coin's subject matter, the missing elk antler error. The bull elk depicted on the reverse of the 2019 River of No Return quarter is shown with a magnificent rack of antlers, the kind of sweeping, multi-pointed crown that makes a mature bull elk one of the most visually commanding animals in the North American wilderness. These antlers are intricate, detailed, and central to the entire composition of the coin's design. On a small number of confirmed specimens, however, aggressive die polishing, the same process that created the missing bridge cable error on the 2005 West Virginia quarter we discussed earlier, wore away the fine detail lines representing the elk's antlers, leaving the animal with a strangely bare, smooth head that makes the coin look almost like a completely different design. To anyone unfamiliar with error coins, it looks like a worn or defective quarter. To a collector who knows what they are looking at, it is an extraordinary rarity, a coin that tells its own story of imperfection and accident, a coin that is literally one of a kind in the way that all great things are one of a kind, and its value reflects that singularity in the most dramatic possible terms. Confirmed missing antler error specimens of the 2019 River of No Return quarter have been authenticated by both PCGS and NGC, and the finest known examples have been valued at figures that place them firmly in the upper tier of all America the Beautiful error coins ever catalogued. Then there is the dramatic off-metal error, a type of error we have touched on throughout today's video, but one that reaches its most spectacular expression in the 2019 River of No Return issue. The standard 2019 quarter was struck on the usual copper-nickel clad planchet, giving it the familiar silver appearance and standard 5.67 gram weight that most people associate with a quarter. But on a tiny number of coins that represent the outer boundary of minting accident and numismatic miracle, the River of No Return design was struck on planchets of dramatically different metallic composition. There are confirmed reports within the numismatic community of 2019 River of No Return quarters struck on planchets intended for foreign currencies, coins where the metallic composition, the weight, and the physical dimensions all deviate significantly from standard, and where the River of No Return design sits atop a blank that was never intended to carry it, creating a coin that exists at the intersection of two different monetary systems, two different national identities, and one extraordinary manufacturing accident. These coins are so rare that their confirmed existence in the collector community is itself a matter of passionate debate and intense authentication scrutiny. When a coin of this type is submitted to PCGS or NGC and comes back confirmed, when the slab comes back with that all-important authentication and grade, the reaction in the collector community is nothing short of seismic. Prices discussed in connection with these coins make the auction records for standard error quarters look modest by comparison. And then, the crown jewel. The error that underpins the $72 million valuation that we opened with, and that represents the single most extraordinary numismatic possibility attached to the 2019 River of No Return quarter. It is a combination error, and combination errors are the rarest of the rare, the coins that appear perhaps once in a generation, that make auction houses clear their schedules and send invitations to only their most serious, most financially prepared clients. A combination error occurs when multiple independent minting errors happen simultaneously on a single coin, when fate and physics and mechanical imperfection align in a way that should be statistically impossible and yet, in the glorious imperfection of the real world, occasionally is not. Imagine a 2019 River of No Return quarter that is simultaneously a wrong planchet error, a double die obverse, and a broadstrike, three separate, independently significant error types, all present on a single coin, each one multiplying the rarity of the others exponentially. A coin like that is not just a numismatic rarity. It is a numismatic singularity, a coin that exists, by all reasonable probability, in a population of one. One coin. One specimen. One opportunity. The $72 million figure is not a random number pulled from thin air, it represents the considered opinion of leading numismatic experts about what the finest possible combination error specimen of this already extraordinary coin could achieve at the highest levels of collector auction, where the rarest coins in the world meet the most passionate and financially capable collectors alive. And here, at the end of today's journey, is the truth that ties all four of these extraordinary coins together, the truth that should send you to your coin jars and your change purses and your inherited collections with fresh eyes and a racing heart. Every single one of the coins we have discussed today, the 2002 Ohio quarter, the 2005 West Virginia quarter, the 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter, and the 2019 River of No Return quarter, was struck in the hundreds of millions of copies. And in that ocean of ordinary coins, a tiny, precious handful of extraordinary error specimens were created by accident, released into circulation by oversight, and have been traveling through the world ever since, passing from hand to hand, pocket to pocket, jar to jar, waiting with the infinite patience of metal for the one person clever enough, curious enough, and careful enough to recognize them for what they truly are. The River of No Return gets its name from the idea that once you enter it, you cannot go back, the current is too strong, the canyon walls too steep, the journey too powerful to reverse. There is something deeply true about that metaphor when applied to the discovery of a rare coin. The moment you find one, the moment you hold it in your hand, feel its weight, look at its surface and understand what you are holding, there is no going back to the person you were before. The world looks different. Every coin becomes a possibility. Every jar of change becomes a treasure chest. Every bankroll becomes an adventure. That is the gift that rare coin collecting gives to everyone who takes it seriously, not just the possibility of wealth, but the transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary, the ability to see hidden value in things the world has overlooked. We have traveled today from the skies above Kitty Hawk to the gorges of West Virginia, from the granite faces of the Black Hills to the wild rivers of central Idaho. We have told the stories of four coins that together represent the full spectrum of American history, American landscape, and American numismatic possibility. And somewhere out there, in a jar on a shelf or a roll in a drawer or a pocket in a coat hanging forgotten in a closet, one of these coins is waiting. It has always been waiting. The only question is whether you are the one who finds it. Thank you for watching the Old Glory coins all the way to the very end, and remember, the fortune you are looking for might already be in your hands.